All right. Well, I suppose we'll get people from core hopefully fairly soon. So, it's been a while since we've had one of these meetings. Welcome back, folks. We'll start out with pull requests here. There was not a whole lot of stuff over the last couple of weeks that was new or closed, probably due to all the work that went into the release, and then just people kind of recovering from that to some extent, I think. Things were fairly busy with CDM as well. Sorry, CDS. So anyway, the ones I do have here, there are two new PRs, both related to O-node pinning and trimming. And one is from Igor, who's here, and one is from Adam. I was hoping to talk about those today, but Adam apparently is out for the week, so I don't know how much we'll be able to actually discuss. But Igor, do you have any comments or any thoughts that would be worth just kind of bringing up until we can talk to Adam?
I think that both approaches are viable. Well, maybe one that is mine is more straightforward and less error prone, but well, definitely my opinion is best at this point. So I'd like someone else to assess these approaches and share his so let's have independent review on that.
Okay. So yeah, maybe I don't know, maybe Josh, you and me, we could look at it and then we can discuss at the next performance meeting or something.
Sure, that sounds good. I
Cool.
haven't had a chance to look at either Adam or Igor, your PRs for the refactoring there yet.
I only skimmed them.
Definitely a great idea in general. We've seen so many bugs come up from that area. Definitely could use some simplification.
All right. Well, we just eliminated one whole discussion topic for today, so we can move on to updated PRs here now. Let's see. RGW compression, that got more reviews. Gabby, it looks like your PR for removing allocations from RocksDB is ready for review. Is that right? Okay, I think this time it's not me, right?
We can hear you fine, Mark.
Okay. Gabby, we can't hear you.
I was on mute.
Oh.
Sorry, I was on mute.
Okay.
I kept talking and nobody was reacting, which was very frustrating. So sorry, I put you as a reviewer, but I mainly need Igor to review this fix. And Adam. I also put Josh and you because it's performance, so you might want to take a look.
Yeah, I might, if I have time, I might try to do just a couple of quick performance tests as a secondary, run in addition to the ones that you've done, just to verify that we see it twice.
Yeah. So I put this stuff on Ceph for testing with help from Ronen, and now it's queued for testing.
Awesome. That is super exciting, Gabby. Can't wait.
Yeah, me too. I want to see Ceph testing to see how does it goes. On my testing, it seems to be fine. But I don't know. My configuration is big, but not so complicated. I didn't use compression, which might be needed.
Have you run this store test suite, which you basically use for object stores?
Come again, Igor? I can't hear you.
Have you run store test, which we often use for basic testing?
If you could send me the name, in Ceph, I asked to run Rados test.
Well, it's not, well, I personally run that locally most of the time. So it's just a bunch of tests to run against specific object store test, object store. Well,
if you could please send me the name of the test, I would also add it. And I also need your help again with the stuff we talked about yesterday, because I changed the code and the numbers and scenes are completely bogus. It reports the number of objects as few hundred, while I know I got much more.
Unfortunately, yeah, I understand. Unfortunately, I can't comment anything about this specific call. Just met it yesterday, so please do not expect much information from my side for
okay.
that. I mean,
So
for this or not count estimation. As for
do
test,
you guys know when we get where do we get a number for the Ceph-S? Because when you run Ceph that dash S, it reports the number of object.
To be honest, Gabby, I've never totally trusted those numbers.
No, good approximation. I don't. Sorry, you don't know what I'm looking for. Brett asked me to print some kind of a progress bar or some kind of progress indication. So I need to know how many objects I got approximately. I don't mind if the number is going to be skewed by 50% because it's still going to show some good idea about it. It's like the Windows progress bar. It doesn't have to be 100% accurate. But for now, a machine with 100,000 of objects is reporting 40.
well, maybe another approach, which is to use this estimate size and then check the size of each node you read, and then just the position depending on the amount you've read versus the total amount.
So what I'm doing now, I'm printing a message every million object process, just so it won't seem as I'm frozen, because
yeah, I understand that you need some
I think every million every million object node takes about 5 to 10 seconds. So I'm trying to keep alive.
I mean that if this call to get a node count estimation doesn't work, you might try an alternative, which is to use estimate size, and then you read every node and you get the amount, the blob size for each node, and hence you can move with the progress using this already read side versus the total size, already read size versus the total size.
I'm not sure I follow, but maybe we can take it off.
Okay, okay. So estimate size returns you say one megabyte for all nodes. Then you read nodes one by one, on each read you get, say, 32 bytes. So you know that you should read 1 megabyte divided by, well, sorry. So you just byte count for every node. So 32 bytes for the first node, then next 32 byte or whatever number you get for the second node, and totally this should go to 1 megabyte.
Do you mean I should divide the total size of RocksDB storage by the number, by some kind of approximation for the object size?
Not exactly. You can get the estimate for specific column family, or specific family for specific prefix which is related to nodes. So that's not the full size of the database, but the size of all nodes or all the records with all prefix in this specific database instance. Say it's 1 megabyte. Then you run through all the records with this specific prefix. Is that correct? Well, when you do the recovery, you need to read every record in O with prefix O.
Yes. So this thing I'm doing. So what I'm doing now, every million of them, I'm printing.
Yeah, I understand. You print just the activity, but you need some more precise progress based on the actual numbers. So you have 1 megabyte total, and you read your nodes and read, well, for the first node 32 bytes, for the next node 33 bytes. So you just sum the already processed amount of data. And this amount should finally get to this megabyte. And hence you can get this progress.
Let's take it offline. I think it's a bit hard to explain on like this. Maybe we can do it just with text.
And as far as the Ceph status object count comes, it comes from the PG map. Yes. And you can also get it. So the PG map has information about all the PGs and all the OSDs, and the OSDs also individually have a count of their objects, degraded objects, etc. And that the particular function that we use to update that metric is called update calc stats, and that happens on a periodic basis in the OSD code. So if you just look at monpgmap.cc, that'll tell you the accumulative stats. And if you want the OSD specific ones, you can look at calc stats in the OSD directory.
Can you please send me the link to this function?
Yes, I will.
Okay, thanks.
But in this case, you would need to call some higher levels from the blue store. So you call it's going to result in calls from low levels upwards. And well, currently we have different directions. So higher OSD levels call lower levels at blue store. Not sure if this makes if that looks pretty nice.
Yeah, I'm not sure either, but maybe you can start looking at it and see if that works for you, or like how we accumulate. Even for those, you'll have a lower level interface from where we are getting those numbers. Maybe worth looking at. Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, so I'm going to give it a try. If it's working, then I'm going to use it. Otherwise, I'm just going to print a message every 5-10 seconds, just so people see that I didn't disappear. Because we try to do the math, it seems that on my box, I got 4 terabytes of storage, and I'm using 4K IO with a lot of small objects. So I got 3.5 million objects, 20 something million shards, and 500 million extent inside the object node. This thing complete in 210 seconds. So I think the biggest storage we have is 16 terabyte. So say 4 times of that. Then it's about 900 seconds, give or take. So that means 15 minutes going to be worst case scenario in a very big system. So I should not run my code for 15 minutes without printing anything. So every few seconds, I should just show that what I've done. So even by just printing the progress into the log, it's give us 90% of what we need. Having a very nice progress bar, that's be a very nice thing, but it's not essential. If I see that it's too complicated, I'm going to just stay with the time-based logging.
Another thing you could do, Gabby, is add a performance counter for it.
Meaning, what do you mean by performance counter?
Oh, in the socket, the min socket interface, you could set it up so that you can query for the current status by just maintaining a counter.
Okay.
I'm not sure it would work since you probably OSD is probably inaccessible at this state. He's recovering. It's not started yet.
Fair point.
Yeah, I think so. A message in the log would be clearer for a user who sees their OSD stuck starting.
Is it definitely the case that I was thinking it'd be really nice if you had the ability in the GUI to be able to see that an OSD was in a state like that, rather than just assuming it's totally offline.
You can grep in the trace and then you would find everything, but the question is, do you want to do that?
But by the way, just very trivial solution. How long does it take?
Sorry, Igor, what were you saying?
So waiting for Gabby.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, Igor. Someone just entered my door. So I disconnected.
Just a question, maybe we can consider very trivial and straightforward solution, which is to iterate over all relevant objects first and count them. How long does it take? So if it takes a few seconds versus 200 minutes.
No, it's not 200 minutes. I think.
Versus
15 minutes is my estimate for worst case scenario.
But anyway, if it takes just 1% of time, it might be okay to calculate this way. But the question, how long does it take for now? I understand that's not an elegant solution, but maybe it's good enough.
But I think since the timing is not crazy long, again, 16 terabyte, my estimate said 16 terabyte worst case scenario is going to be around 15 minutes. Not crazy long.
Okay, but
I mean, FSCK of that kind of system will take you more than 1 hour.
Okay, but this involves all the data reading and all the stuff to recover location map. But what's about the timing for just iterating over records which you would read after that? Does
What
it
do you mean
take
after
minutes?
that? I'm reading all the object not in the
Okay,
system, object not in
but
shards.
at first stage, you can just iterate over them, not read them. You have an Omap
Oh, okay.
iterator.
Do you mean to perform first iteration just to get an estimate?
Yeah.
But it's a big waste of time just for getting the estimate.
Yeah,
I'm
and
assuming that thing would be like about, I'm going to add maybe 10-20% overhead by doing that. Maybe less.
Well, actually,
I can measure that.
Actually, I don't know. I am just asking how long does it take? Maybe it's not that long. Maybe it's just 1% of the time or something. But
you know what? I'm going to measure this on my system.
Yeah.
Now, my system is worst case scenario because I'm building a lot of object with very small allocation. If you have big object with big writes, then the iteration going to be much faster. I'm going to measure this.
Again,
okay.
Yeah, again, just to understand how long does it take comparing to the total recovery process. So if it's just 1%, it's okay to do that way.
It take me a few minutes to get this information. I can even do this now.
But again, I think that another approach with estimate size is also doable. So let's discuss it offline.
All right, I threw just some very, very rudimentary notes. This kind of turned into its own discussion topic. All right. So next on the list, Ceph volume. I think that's more of the same kind of still ongoing. And there are some more updates to the D3N cache changes for RGW, which has also been kind of ongoing for a while now. Okay, that was it for updated. Under no movement, I haven't done much with this ONode map change and better documentation for Bluefist Buffered.io. It's really just a dumb, easy PR. But Ronan has expressed interest in working on the GHObject-T hash for the ONode map to better populate an unordered map or something other kind of hash-like data structure rather than switching it over to a tree. So he wanted to take a stab at that. So I'm not doing anything with this right now. And maybe most of this just goes away when it just turns into just the documentation for Bluefist Buffered.io. But we'll see. The Omap bench test. The only thing that I think we're trying to decide on before we merge this is whether or not there should be any kind of mechanism to let the user of the test set parameters. And it's kind of irritating that I guess gtest doesn't really have a good way to do this. Adam had recommended maybe letting you set environment variables before the test is run. It seems a little, I don't know, not ideal. I'd much rather be able to just pass command line parameters in. But anyway, if anyone has any opinions on that, that's kind of the only thing that we have to decide on, I think, before we merge the first version of this. Not a whole lot of other stuff here. I did see that I think the Cephfs team is planning on working on the subtree map PR. Patrick, actually, I think is going to work on that. So hopefully we will get that in at some point here. I think that's going to be a really, if it does what I'm hoping it's going to do, I think that's going to be a really big improvement for active multi-MDS setups with Cephfs. Only other thing I see in here is that I think we can now, or I suppose I can now get the age-based binning implemented, since we've got all the column family stuff and other related things done. So that PR, the kind of the final piece of the age binning, can go in. And Adam had a couple of concerns about the way that we're doing that, and if it might be better to rely on like heuristics like cache hit rates and miss rates, and that's a fair argument. So we'll see where that eventually goes, but we can at least start working on it again. So anyway, I think that's basically it for PRs. Okay, we talked about Gabby's allocation stuff. Crimson, I don't have much, but I did give a presentation to some folks at IBM and others on, well, it was a couple of weeks ago now. I've linked the slides for anyone that wants to look at those in the chat window. I think a number of people have already seen all of this, but for anyone that hasn't, I made it public. So related to that, now with Alien Store, after PRs from Radic and others, we are more efficient for both small random reads and small random writes than classic OSD. That's really exciting. So yay, everybody. That's really good news. We are still slower. So we're more efficient, but we can't use as many cores. Right now we're topping out at about 2 to 3 cores with Crimson, with all of the bottleneck concentrated in the reactor thread. So we are still slower, but when we can move to multi-reactor setups, however we end up doing that, we should start to see the overall level of performance go up, along with core usage. To kind of try to test that, how we might do, I did try multi-OSD configurations on a single device, and Crimson is actually slower with 4 Crimson OSDs talking to the same device versus 1, even with like 1x replication, just trying to get as much performance out of it as possible. I don't know why yet. I'm still looking at it, but maybe I'll have more to say about it next week. And that's basically it for Crimson. I guess we also kind of already talked about pinning room strategy stuff. Since Adam's not here, Josh and I will look it over. Maybe next week, if Adam's back, we can discuss. That's all I've got. Anyone have anything they'd like to bring up this week?
I see Joshua Bergen, is that how you say your name? I think you were the person who was bringing up backfill and recovery reservations on the mailing list. Do you want to you have any more questions around that area? Or?
No, I just wanted to confirm. You can hear my mic okay, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, great. This is the first time I use BlueJeans, so I just figured I should double check that. I just wanted to confirm my understanding from a bunch of research that I had been doing probably last year sometime. Mm-hmm. So I think you answered all of my questions adequately. Thank you. Yeah.
Okay, cool. No problem.
Igor, it looked like you were trying to talk earlier, but I didn't hear anything. Were you trying to say something?
No, just typing, sorry.
Oh, no worries. Okay. All right, then. Well, if there's nothing else, guys, let's wrap it up. All right.
All right.
Have a great week, everyone.
Thanks. You too.
Bye.
Bye.